Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Sneha Roo. I'm a palliative physician and the founder of Ori Kalankini. Ori Kalankini is an organization that's changing narratives around menstruation and sexuality in India using art, theater, and dialogue. This series is called Leaning into the Network series, where we bring people from different parts of our network to meet each other, talk about their creative process, their journey, their skills, or specific relief efforts they're making during the COVID-19. Today we have Ankha Milo with us. Hi, Ankha.
Hi Sneha.
Ankha is an artist who now lives in Arunachal Pradesh. Um, Thank you for joining us, Ankha, at a pretty short notice and making sure that internet is all right and taking extra effort towards that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sneha, for having me. I really admire the work you do. And I just went through the website when you sent me the presentation. I really think it is and very it is something that like should be out there, like the kind of work you do there, and really appreciate you having me on board.
Thank you so much for giving us time. We ask everyone the same first question. When were you made aware of your gender? And how did your family system support it or not? When did you
Mhm.
realize or when were you told that you're a girl?
So, my family, I have four sisters. No, I have three sisters and one brother. So my family is mostly comprised of women. And for me, my first realization of my gender consciously was when it was in school, when, at a certain age, when boys are made to sit separately and girls are made to sit separately. So that became a very visible demarcation in like the way you're arranged, like your seating arrangement and whom you interact with. Because till a certain point, you are allowed to sit with boys and girls, and it's all mixed. But after a certain, like maybe in class 5 or something, you have this separation which is evident, and then you know that yes, you are a girl. It creates an impact on you that you are a girl and you're that he's a boy, that sort of thing. So the boy girl, the definition, yes, became more, I was more conscious about it from then.
Right, right. Thank you so much for sharing this.
Hmm.
And when you physically distance somebody, you also and especially when schools and teachers whom, you know, because whatever they say becomes super real. And, we, yeah, I can see how big an impact that is. Mm. I personally didn't face that in our school till 10th grade. It was mandatory that um, it has to be mixed seating, and in
Wow.
fact they would make it mandatory. They would harass us to sit in a mixed seating. They would ask us to we would want to just catch up with friends and all, but they would say no, no, go back to your places. So
Okay.
yeah.
We in our school, it was a completely a different setting. I mean, we had separate hostels for boys and girls, which is a very it's a normal thing to have in every schools and institutions. But we also had separate corridors for boys and girls. Like, we were not allowed to go to the boys corridor, and boys are not supposed to come to the girls corridor. So the demarcation was quite like evident, like the teachers also like kind of look down on you when you try to interact with boys, or when boys kind of like became friendly with girls. So this was kind of stigmatized even then, the kind of interaction. Maybe it was a very conservative uh, town setting, so maybe that was a mindset. But we were, the conditioning what we brought up was that, and I lived in hostel all my life. So from UKG to class 12 and even college, it was all hostel. So there was a lot of public interaction. But this is when I felt like I'm a girl, you know.
Yeah, and it must be a small town thing, but I also have seen, like, I grew up in Bangalore. There were other
Mm.
schools in Bangalore who did that. During puberty, they separated based on gender. Mm, Probably mine had, like, the one I went to had, certain values they held, and it was, I mean, I was lucky, I can say that's all. So I came to know about your work through your Instagram profile.
Okay.
and it was called Lens on Rural Feminisms.
Uh,
Um,
okay,
yeah,
it's
correct
uh,
me.
it's basically reframing the domestic spaces by Zuban, which is
Yeah.
an online exhibition, and they're taking submissions from mostly the marginalized community and the Northeast communities.
Hmm.
So I just gave my submission as a part of the whole lockdown series. I was creating things during the lockdown also and documenting things, which I do on a daily basis also. So I just thought like maybe I'll compile it together, compile the pictures together and send it out to Zuban. And so it's up there. And I think that's how you saw or connected with me.
A friend sent me your work, and I'm really grateful to Tejasvi. Thank you for doing that, and please keep
Thank you,
doing that.
Tejasvi.
Yeah, I want to ask you, when and why did you choose camera as your medium of expression, photography as your medium of expression? What does the lens give you that, probably other mediums don't, or why, just basic why do you like this medium?
Okay. Photography is something really deeply personal to me because it came out during college while I was in college. So one of the weekends I just went home and it was a quiet evening and I just went for a walk. So no company, nothing but just a camera with me. And it was when during one of those walks that, when things became too silent and I was really awed by a certain light or like, some kind of uh, visual image that really struck me, then I would take the photos, and so I realized that it was a way that even the silence was speaking, like the silence itself was speaking through the images and not necessarily I had a voice out there or a company out there to like, tell me what it felt like. It was just what evoked out of my own silence, I guess. So that's how I started photography, but that was just a hobby. And I studied dentistry. So I studied dentistry. I finished all my studies and even practiced. Meanwhile, mobile cameras became quite popular, and mobile has been my visual diary. Like that's my documentation of visual diary. It's there. It's very private. Even though I didn't like own a DSLR back then, and the first with the first salary or like I collected enough money to like buy my first DSLR from the clinic or the dental profession itself. So I'm thankful to that and there's both. Like it's like I combined both the worlds together then. That's how I started photography.
Thank you. Um, we'll come to your work because you were born and raised in Karnataka, and last 5 years you have moved to Arunachal Pradesh. Zero, if I'm not wrong.
Arunachal Pradesh. It's like I've been around Arunachal Pradesh. So I consciously decided to move back to Arunachal Pradesh.
Yeah, I was wondering about that decision. And because even the work with Zuban is reframing domesticity. And domesticity is very different, say, in South India, in Karnataka, and then back, in Arunachal Pradesh. So if you could talk a little bit about that, um, how it has impacted your work, going back home, because finding home is um, one of the important things that one can happen to anyone. Like, I'm still finding my home.
Sure,
um,
sure.
so how has that shaped your creative process? How have you changed? How has your work changed?
Thank you for the question. So this is also deeply personal, when I moved back home, so I did face with identity crisis for a really long time because I was brought up in Karnataka and I studied in hostel and, the exposure was less to my own culture. The only kind of exposure I would get towards my culture was through my parents, during the vacations, the kind of music, the kind of food, and all of the images and the photos, the videos they would send from home, So that was the only kind of exposure we had. But vacations, we used to go home, but it was not like uh, we couldn't afford to go home all the time, So it was mostly during maybe because summer vacations once or twice, and it was not a thing all of us because it's a big family and you can't afford to like move up and down throughout. So when I moved back, when I moved back, 1 minute. When I moved back, that was a decision because I was also trying to change my career and figuring out what my roots is or what my identity is. So because it became important to understand where this crisis was coming and how I was feeling left out in the cities. Because even though I was brought up there, you don't find the kind of comfort or to express yourself or to understand who you are, and I started really questioning my own mind, how it was developing and the kind of thoughts that were crossing my mind. So when I moved back home, it was a big change. There was everything was new to me, and a lot of them the curiosity really boomed up, there, and I started I started observing. Like first thing that actually came to was just observation as to like what this culture was about because I knew nothing about it like practically, though I've heard a lot of things. In ground, I had no idea what it was like to be back home, and I realized that a lot of things had a different meaning. Like when I compare to the kind of life I had in Karnataka, and when I try to compare it with the kind of life I have in Arunachal, so it was like two worlds apart. So I always tell it's an old world and a new world, or like it's two worlds apart, and I know that there are two worlds within me. So when I tried to change my career, it became very important to find out what what exactly was my voice trying to say or speak, and I think that's why I made the switch from dentistry to photography and writing, and make me understand and explore my own identity through my own observations, and that also like took me very deep into the culture and the landscape. When I also talk about the domesticity, I realized that it's not the same because an urban landscape is completely different from a tribal landscape, in terms of the roles or the culture or everything. Even in the domestic spaces, the definition does not necessarily mean it's only pertaining to inside the homes. For us, the domestic spaces are also farms and fields, and in the kind of things we engage ourselves with, maybe cooking, but cooking is most women like it's a common narrative that everybody does it outside, I mean everywhere, but it also came with a kind of handicrafts or with the beads. All of these things were a woman's job. It was her space. It was not interrupted by any man in that perspective. So all of this was really new to me, when I was of a very impressionable age. So I just started pulling the thread and really want to see what comes out of this. Sneha?
Um, if you any from crafting, you cooking your food, if you went back to working on earth, uh, yeah.
Wait,
Can you
I
hear
didn't
me?
get you. I didn't get you. I didn't get you. Can you like repeat that?
Yeah. So I was asking, if you did pick up anything again, doing making jewelry and craft, or sewing or cooking traditional food. If you did any activities to because you face crisis in identity and finding your place even back at home, because of living outside for so long.
Hmm.
Did you take up any practices which helped you connect?
Like I said, I was exposed to my culture through my mother and through my father. Like whenever we used to come home during the vacation, and even as a kid, I learned knitting from my mom, and I learned embroidery. Like she used to do a lot of craft at like you call it craft in like outside, but here it's a thing that most women engage with. So for me, I grew up, doing work with my hands and using my mind and understanding the aesthetics. So all of that, it's not something I learned after coming here, but I've been doing it throughout. It's just that I didn't think that would be a thing I could do it forever, because the kind of social norms that come is like you need to have a career, you need to be ambitious about certain things, and hence I took up dental, and studied dentistry and was trying to push myself in that direction. But I knew that I was really not happy because I just wanted to like be myself. And yeah, so with the craft, but I'm taking like what I realized after coming here is